All right, everyone, we start off today with the Halloween moral panic. This has become as much a U.S. yearly tradition as, giving out candy corn and then people throw it at each other because nobody wants to eat it. There are some people that like candy corn. In other words, there's a problem with mental illness in our society. Anyway, link in the description, not archived because it's just a tweet by RNC Research. This is exactly what the GOP should not be doing. You've won, you're a few weeks out from the midterms. That's not long after Halloween. You've won on the economy. You've won on gas prices, inflation. You've won on the border. You've won on crime. You're at least breaking even on education. That's a godsend to the GOP. By the way, why are you not pushing the anti-CRT message more? You had a winning issue there and you sort of stepped back and said, let's pivot to other things. Apparently one of those things is engaging in the yearly GOP celebration for Halloween moral panics. Now, when I was a kid, we were told that we would get razor blades in our apples, or maybe AIDS needles would be stuck in the candy. It was really disappointing. Nobody wants to eat an apple and find a razor blade in it because they just sliced a chunk of their gums off. That's not fun. These days, the Zoomers, well, the younger ones that are still trick-or-treating, you lucky fucks, you're getting free fentanyl, apparently. According to the GOP and according to the DEA and other groups, yes, drug dealers are putting multicolored fentanyl pills in people's Halloween pails or bags. And I'm thinking to myself, you must be getting high on your own supply if you're giving away free drugs. The purpose of drug dealing is to make money. Kids don't generally have much money, and if their parents are right there on the curb beside them, yeah, you're going to hand them a little baggie with free fentanyl in it. You're going to waste your money getting kids high. The kids aren't going to be buying. What's the point of getting the kids high? Fuck the kids. If you're going to give away free fentanyl, then usually the dealer's giving it to someone who is older and they're looking for a piece of ass. That's the way that dealers work. They want to make money. It's a free market suppressed, by the way. Now, as someone who is increasingly concerned by the fentanyl crisis in the United States, which was created by the pharmaceutical industry getting people doped up on opioids, let's not think that for a minute it was drug dealers themselves that caused this crisis. No, it was the makers of oxycodone and Vicodin and things like that who pressured hospitals to give them out like candy. I fondly recall when I got my wisdom teeth taken out. For a few days, there's swelling, there's pain. I took ibuprofen and, ate popsicles and I was fine. They gave me a shit ton of Percocet. They gave me a lot of opioids. I could have had a fun time, but I took one of them figuring, it's been prescribed. This will help with the pain. I puked and felt like shit, so I said fuck it and dumped them down the toilet. Probably should have sold them, I suppose, at the time. Could have made a pretty penny. That I would have bought more Lego sets at the time, just to be clear about my mental state when I was a young teenager. But no dealer is actually giving your kids free drugs. A few years ago, the moral panic, the flavor of the day then was marijuana edibles or THC-laced candies. I remember that. I think that was 2020 or thereabouts, 2019. Well, now that these have been made legal in some states, perverts are going to try to get your kids high. Yeah, the average weed head is going to spend $1,000 getting a bunch of THC-laced gummies and putting them in your kid's basket so that they can go to federal prison for the next 20 years when little Jimmy gets high and they're selling drugs. They're also giving it to kids as child endangerment, etc., etc., multiplicity of charges. Yes, that's exactly what the average weed smoker really wants to do with their lives. But even a fentanyl dealer, so, a sleazebag, because, really the dealers of the world should boycott fentanyl and just go back to heroin or something. We've seen this over and over again. Back in the late 90s, you were going to get ecstasy. Before that, you were only getting razor blade apples. Or you were getting, things that had to do with the occult, the weird people on the corner there that always dress in black. It certainly corrupted me. They're going to give your kid pamphlets to invite them to the Church of Satan or something like that. It seems to morph over time. It's always a different story, but it follows the same thematic pattern. The GOP is being so fucking stupid by wasting any time on the DEA's Halloween moral panic. I assure you that the number of cases of kids getting fentanyl in their Halloween baskets is going to be in the single-digit range this Halloween. You'll probably be in the ghetto if that happens, and it'll probably be the dealer who's high on their own supply and grabbed the wrong bowl. They won't even be doing it on purpose. They're as high as balls right now, and so, they're caught slipping. No reasonable person would risk federal drug charges and child abuse charges at the same time as an aggravation so that they can go and get raped in prison, by the way, because they harmed children. No, even the most ardent drug pusher is not going to use Halloween to give out free drugs. It doesn't make any sense when you really consider it. These people here, look at the fucking responses on here. There are people that are like, oh God, yeah, I've got to watch out for little Jimmy's candy this year. They'll have to go through every single candy. It's basically an excuse for the parents to pocket a bunch of it and say, well, this one looks a little bit odd, Jimmy. I'm sorry, you can't have this particular Hershey bar. I've got to inspect it in minutia. And of course, Dad eats the Hershey bar. No, you can't have this bag of gummy bears. It's your mom's favorite. Oh, I mean, they might be laced with THC and she wants to have a good time. Oh, I mean, hey, drugs are bad. Just say no. That's really what's happening here. Moral panic. It's fucking horseshit. It is funny, though. I figured I would cover a funny story and also deprecate the GOP for its fucking stupidity, even bothering to mention this. This is an RNC-run page on Twitter, just to be clear. These are people who are, supposedly strategically minded. This is what the GOP, by the way, does, deviating from fentanyl and Halloween moral panics for a moment. The GOP is famous for doing this sort of shit. You've won on a half a dozen issues. Let's talk about Halloween candy. Razor blades and apples. Free ecstasy pills. They're going to hand out whippets or something like that with a little instruction manual telling you how little Jimmy and Sally can get high together and go fuck. That apparently this is what they believe Halloween has denigrated into. I wouldn't want to go trick-or-treating in the kind of places where you're likely to meet the dealer who's stoned enough to accidentally put the fentanyl in the kid's basket. I think they have worse problems in parts of Chicago and Detroit right now than dealing with fentanyl in their kids' little bags. What do they dress up as in the hood, by the way, for Halloween? You're definitely not going to dress as a ghost because a dude walking around in a white robe might raise some eyebrows. Come on. It's bullshit. That's about all. Peace out.